So how exactly did a platform that started out as a quirky little website for pixelated home videos end up becoming the absolute undisputed king of your living room TV by 2025? Well, buckle up, because the answer is a pretty wild ride.
Welcome to today's Explainer. We're not just going to rehash YouTube's history here. We're unpacking the visionary leadership that built it from the ground up, and we're digging into some hard 2025 data that absolutely proves its total market dominance.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're covering a billion-dollar bet, leading disruptive change, the 2025 viewing shift, TV sets and long form, and finally, how legacy media joins in. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. A billion-dollar bet. The origin of disruption.
Let's kick things off with a moment of high-stakes corporate drama back in 2004 that literally changed the internet forever. Think about the sheer vulnerability of this quote from Susan Wojcicki, who was running Google Video at the time. She had to stand in front of Google's board and admit that their highly anticipated in-house product was just flat-out losing to this scrappy startup called YouTube. But instead of just doubling down on a sinking ship, she proposed a massive, unprecedented pivot, a $1.65 billion acquisition of that very competitor in 2006. Talk about a painful, public, and career-defining risk.
But man, did that painful bet pay off. By 2015, YouTube was pulling in 1 billion unique daily visitors, and its valuation skyrocketed to $70 billion. That single pivot by Wojcicki completely shifted the tectonic plates of modern media.
Moving on to Section 2. Leading disruptive change, the leadership playbook.
Because, initial success doesn't guarantee you're going to survive tomorrow, especially in tech. With massive scale came fierce competition, from music labels like Bevo to Hollywood giants like Netflix. To stay afloat, Wojcicki, who had become CEO by then, had to pivot the company fast. According to Alberto Gonzalez Pascual from the IEC Business School, she leaned on a 4-step growth model for change. And the real secret sauce here? Initiating that change while ad revenues were already rising. You don't wait until the ship is actually sinking to fix the leak. She surrounded herself with experts, gave new alternative operations the autonomy to actually breathe, and purposely cultivated disruptive mindsets across her teams.
She launched some really bold initiatives, like YouTube TV, to go head-to-head with traditional cable, and YouTube Red for original content. But she knew you can't just innovate products, you have to innovate the workplace culture that builds them. By putting a data-driven 18-week parental leave policy in place, she actively halved the number of women leaving the company. She also pushed hard for diversity, realizing that a global platform absolutely has to have a workforce that actually reflects its incredibly diverse user base.
All right, Section 3. The 2025 viewing shift, the demographic explosion.
Fast forward to 2025, data from Digital Eyes shows exactly how those strategic seeds grew into this massive, undeniable phenomenon that actually blew past Netflix in daily usage. Just look at this staggering data point, 161.5. That is the average number of minutes South Koreans spent every single day on the platform. I mean, that's over 2.5 hours. It's basically a feature-length film every single day.
So who is actually driving this crazy growth globally? You'd probably guess teenagers, right? Well, while 18 to 24-year-olds did watch the most overall at an impressive 111 minutes a day, the most explosive year-over-year growth came from a demographic you might not expect. Notice the data for the 55 to 64 age group. Older men, specifically, jumped by a whopping 15.3%. So, yeah, the platform is definitely no longer just a young person's game, it has literally captured everyone.
And geographically, the map is shifting fast. Check out this contrast. Globally mature markets like the US saw small single-digit growth, around 3.8%. But France and Spain, they absolutely exploded. They became massive new growth engines with over 30% increases in daily viewing time year over year. It's wild.
Which brings us to Section 4. TV sets in long form. The living room takeover.
So where exactly is all this extra watch time happening? Well, think about the biggest screen in your house. By the end of 2025, a full third of all YouTube viewing had transitioned completely off mobile devices and straight onto the living room TV set. TV viewing literally overtook mobile viewing. The platform completely redefined its physical place in our daily routines, and let's be honest, it probably fed right into our own binge-watching habits.
This living room takeover totally shifted what people were actually watching. Deeper long-form content, meaning videos over 20 minutes long, grew to account for nearly 68% of all viewing time. But hey, don't write off those quick hits. Short-form videos remained an absolutely vital engine for reaching those audiences and sparking that initial discovery. It turned into this perfectly balanced dual ecosystem.
To see how this actually works out in the wild, analyze the top 500 channels globally. Over half of them, about 53.8%, are now heavily reliant on shorts. They use these bite-sized clips to grab your attention real quick on your phone, and then they strategically funnel you into their broader ecosystem of longer, TV-ready standard videos. It's a brilliant strategy.
And that leads us to Section 5. Legacy media joins in, the ecosystem balance.
This whole dual-engine thing of short-form reach and long-form TV viewing ended up creating a fascinating irony for legacy media. 5 traditional U.S. media giants completely dominate in terms of sheer reach now. Netflix and NBC Universal are leading the pack. I mean, Netflix alone uses YouTube as a massive 78 million viewer brand awareness funnel. The very competitors who used to see the site as an existential threat are now totally leaning on it to connect with global audiences at scale. Talk about a plot twist.
But here is the really crucial takeaway. Reach is not the same thing as engagement. While traditional Hollywood definitely secures the highest sheer number of eyeballs, the actual super user loyalty, the hours and hours of deep watch time, is often commanded by niche independent creators. Hollywood gets the clicks for sure, but the creators get the true devotion.
Which leaves us with this final thought to ponder. If the traditional networks and streaming giants now depend on YouTube just to reach their audience and stay relevant, what does that actually mean for the future of traditional TV? Who truly owns the living room now? Definitely something to think about the next time you cast a video to your screen. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.